All right, hopefully you didn't have too many problems with that, but let's go ahead and go through that together. So we already have video player set up. Let's go ahead and do random video. I'm going to remove the comments here that identified what needed to be done. And I'm going to declare the variable that is going to contain the public methods that are returned. So random video is what I'm going to call it. And I'll set that equal to function. Once again, we don't need the parentheses here, even though this is an iffy, because we have this variable at the start of our statement. It's our basic structure. Let's make sure it's invoked immediately like that. And then in order to make sure that we don't overwrite something that may be on the global space named random video, we will pass that in if it exists. If it doesn't exist, we'll pass in an empty object. And we need a place to put that. And so let's go ahead and declare a variable here. RV is what I'm going to call it. And then, like I did with videoplayer.js, I prefer to use strict. So I'm going to put that in here as well. All right, let's go ahead and copy out the random video stuff. So I know I'm going to need that declaration and also the video list, because that's where we keep track of the videos from the JSON file. So I'll paste those in first. Now let's go back and get the video function. I guess I should have cut those. I can remove those now. Let's get the random video method and also the event listener. We're going to grab that. Bring this back and paste that in. Now, what about this load JSON call here? Well, we could place that inside of the random video. We can make that a part of the module, and that would be fine. I think what I'm going to do, though, is keep it a part of main.js. In fact, that's the only thing that I'll have in main.js is this load JSON call. So I'm going to keep that there as the main starting point of my random video player application. That's what main.js is going to be. And then these other modules will contain the rest of the code. Okay, we now have everything inside of randomvideo.js, and we now need to return what is public. And by returning that, we export from this module. It's basically what we're doing. So here's our return statement, returning an object. And we want to make sure that we include whatever is passed in here as a part of that object. And so we use the spread operator for that. And then we want to make randomize video public. So once again, we can use the concise format to do that. We name that, and that will make that the property as well as pointing to the function. Accomplishes both for us. So that's our random video module. Let's go ahead and save that, and let's work on the ATJS. Remove the comments here, and we're going to do our declaration. ATJS utilities is what I want to use as the variable. Set that equal to function. I'm going to go ahead and put a variable here for what's passed in, because I know I'm going to do that. There's our basic structure. Immediately invoke it. And to make sure we don't overwrite something that like this that exists, we're going to pass that in, or an empty object. Like that. And then once again, I'm going to put ustrict in here. And now let's go ahead and copy out the utilities that are in main.js. So if I come back over here, there's really no variable declarations I need, but I do need all of these functions here. So I'll cut those and paste those in. Those are the utility functions that we wanted. And now we can go ahead and make public all of these. We want to make them all public. So return, going to return an object, and We want to make sure that we include this variable as a part of that object so that we don't lose this in case there was something attached to it that was passed in. So there we go, and now we just need to include all of the functions and make them public. So format, whoops. That's one. I'm going to use the concise format again. Load JSON, get random int, and get last part of URL. That will make all of those public for us. All right, we've got ATJS utilities.js done. And that's what you're required to do as part of the exercise. Now, before we finish, I want to deal with main.js. Now, with main.js, I mentioned I wanted to include the load JSON, that call. So I want that to still be in here. But we're not going to be making anything public. Obviously, we've moved these to the utilities module, and so I can move that completely. I don't need that anymore. And we really don't need this variable. We can just have this as an immediately invoked function expression. So we can remove that, and we can remove this stuff down here. So when this loads, it will just immediately invoke, and then it will cause that load JSON call to happen. I am going to, just out of habit, put use strict in here, like that. And there's our main.js file. So now we've got the pieces that we need. The next step is we need to add them to index.html so that they are loaded. And we need to link. So for example, main.js needs to be able to call randomize video. So we need to provide access to that. Video player has some utilities it needs access to, and random video as well. So we need to provide access. So that's what we're going to do in the next topic and exercise. So let's move on.